Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of my F1 23 MyTeam career mode. This is part 31 of the series. If you did miss the last episode, it was a 10th career win for Charles Leclerc, and Lando Norris also claimed some crucial points against us in the championship battle. At the moment we had a pretty shocking Mexico Grand Prix with us actually losing our podium streak. That was 7 podiums in a row that we've now lost, and it was also points for Alex Albon, so we finally had a double points finish for Brabham Meguiars Racing. And now as we take a look here at the performance charts, it is still incredibly close between the top 4, so that is the McLaren, Aston Martin, Mercedes, and of course the Red Bull are your top 4 fastest cars at the moment. The Ferrari there, you can see there is also starting to make some inroads towards that top 4, and unfortunately for Brabham, we've still currently the second last car, but surely in the last race or two we will be having some upgrades coming through. And you can see here it's going to be quite an interesting race as well. So it's going to be dry qualifying, dry sprint, and mostly the dry race, except for the last portion of the race where it's probably going to get a little bit wet here. So definitely going to shake things up a bit towards the end of the Grand Prix. So I reckon keeping a dry setup is definitely going to be the way to go, because 99% of the weekend's going to be dry by the looks of it. So not going to hamper just any of our setup just for that tiny little bit of dry right at the end. But straight into it, here is the first practice session, and we're doing the race strategy program, and on the third flying lap here we're going to easily get the required delta to make sure that we've got good race pace here. And now moving forward to the average tyre wear analysis here, you can see going through the first and middle sector were generally pretty good, and now coming on to the last sector, that's where we're starting to lose some of the tyre grip. And I thought it was going to be very close, but it ended up being green and not purple, so having to go again here, and you can see we're much better keeping these tyres very nice and cold. Well, not cold, but try and not overheat them and wear them out too much, of course, the lap. So doing a very good job there to ensure that we can maybe try some different things here for our strategy in the race to make sure that we can try and get ourselves the upper hand. But unfortunately here in the qualifying simulation, we're absolutely nowhere. We lost a ton of time going through the middle and the final sector, so quite unusual there. But having a look here at the results here in practice 1, so Lando Norris, then myself, then George Russell, so the top 3 in the championship, top 3 in practice 1, so very close indeed between us all. And then Alex Albon down there in P11, and here we're actually going to have to add on a couple of fresh components here. So I've only shown the one, but we've racked up I think from memory it was 25 penalties for, well, 25 grid drop for the new components. So we've skipped qualifying to try and save the components ready for the sprint race. So Charles Leclerc, George Russell, and Oscar Piastri are your top 3 in qualifying 1. Our teammate has actually done quite well. So once we scroll down, we're going to see here he's going to be in P16. So Alex Albon has done very good indeed to get himself into Q2, and ourselves there not setting a lap time at all, as now we get set for the Grand Prix.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint, not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Leclerc, Oscar Piastri, Sainz, Verstappen, Perez, Gasly, Bottas, Joe, Ocon, Stroll, Liam Lawson, Hulkenberg, Albon, Magnussen, Sonoda, Iwasa, De Vries, Sargent, and the Rainmaster. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. Anthony Davidson is alongside me, as usual, for today's race. The last few races have been a bit rough for them, unable to get a clean run. That's got to have some effect on their confidence, surely.
Certainly confidence is an important factor. And every time you're involved in an incident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
Here we are on the grid for the sprint race. So we're going to stay with the soft tyres. I was very tempted to have a quick look there at the mediums, but in the end I've opted to go for the soft tyre for the sprint race. Now, we're starting dead last, so this sprint race is all about trying to get ourselves as far up the grid as we possibly can. And we've taken our engine penalty, hence the no qualification. So pretty much just go at it to try and make the Grand Prix tomorrow as easy as possible. As now we're just doing a practice start there and making sure that everything is feeling all good. I occasionally have a little bit of an issue with it with my steering wheel, but it's generally not too much of an issue as we start to get the car all lined up now, and it is going to be purple as now the lights start to illuminate. It is 5 red lights and we are off. It's a pretty alright start for ourselves. Quite a bit of wheel spinning, especially in second and third place gear there, sorry. And we tried to go for a little bit of a look up the inside of Nick DeVries there, but just not enough room. So we kind of keep it to the inside. And a little bit of contact with Nick. Actually, I wasn't expecting him to slop so much, even though I tried to go around his outside. Now, we've got a little bit of a run on him here as we deployed a heap of ERS tucking into the slipstream there. But looking ahead, it is Charles Leclerc who's leading the way, actually. So the Ferraris have had a pretty good start there. Lewis Hamilton P2 and Carlos Sainz P3. So 2 Ferraris on the podium as it stands at the moment as they go up the hill towards turn 6, turn 7, turn 8. The very nice sequence of corners, actually. Is now we cut back to ourselves. So we're going to send a very big dive bomb here going into turn 8 to get ourselves 2 positions. And now, going through turn 9, turn 10's a pretty good overtaking opportunity. So could we possibly get Lance Stroll? We've actually had a bit of a wheel spin on the exit, so that may have hampered us a little bit. No, it's not. We're going to still send it up the inside of Stroll to get ourselves up into P15 already before the end of the first lap. And now, cutting forward to lap 3, we've got DRS, and so now, surely we can go around the outside of our teammate here at turn 4. It's going to be very close and a little bit of contact actually on the exit, but we get the job done. And now, fast forwarding just a few more corners, we're now going up the inside of Zhou Guan Yu to get ourselves up into P13. So we're making very quick progress through this field. And once again, going into turn 10, we're going up the inside. And now that is Liam Lawson we've managed to get ourselves past. So that is P12 for ourselves. And now, using a little bit of assistance here from some DRS, we're going to be looking to try and go around the outside of Valtteri Bottas, who's in that Sauber. We don't quite get the move done. He gets the better exit on us. And so now going up the hill, it's going to be a battle of the horsepower. But in the end, we're going to tuck behind and now hopefully try and get ourselves lined up to go for a dive bomb into turn 8. It's a very late one, but we send it and we get the move done. So that is us now up into P11. As now, we take a look forward. This is Lewis Hamilton. He's going to be trying to go for the lead of the sprint race here down the inside of Charles Leclerc at turn 1. Is he going to be able to make it stick? Charles Leclerc's going to have the inside line now for turn 2, but that gives Lewis Hamilton the inside for turn 3 here. A very fast left-hand sweep here, but with DRS, Charles Leclerc should be able to power through, but that straight line of the Mercedes is looking very good. And here comes Carlos Sainz. He's in this battle as well. So it's 2 Ferraris versus 1 Mercedes at the moment for the lead of this sprint race. They're still going to go side by side up the hill into turn 6. Is Lewis Hamilton going to be able to get the position? Not quite. Charles Leclerc still defending this very well as he now goes down the inside at turn 8, that is, and going into turn 9. They're still running side by side. They have been side by side since turn 1. And now going into turn 10, is the move going to get finally done for Lewis Hamilton? A little bit of contact going around his outside. I wonder if that's going to cause any damage for Lewis Hamilton, and it's going to be Charles Leclerc who's going to manage to maintain his position at the moment. Now cutting back to ourselves. So this was actually while the battle between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton was still going. We get the move done on Pierre Gasly to get ourselves now into the top 10. And this was another overtake that happened during that battle. This is Max Verstappen going around the outside of one of the Alpines there. I'm trying to figure out who it is. It looks like it's Pierre... No, that's Ocon, actually. So that's Max Verstappen getting past Esteban Ocon there, going up the hill. As now we take a look, this is Lewis Hamilton once again. Is he going to get the move done this time on Charles Leclerc? And with the power of DRS, is he going to get it done? He goes around the outside and looks like he clipped the apex there. So I would say he's got the move done. And behind him, that is Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz going at it. So the two mates from Wonder Years is once again going for a position here for the podium. It's Lando Norris currently just ahead of Carlos Sainz. Is he going to get the move done? Not quite yet, but he's actually going to get the better exit here. So that is Lando Norris up into P3 now. This is Lando Norris looking to try and get himself the win here, actually, because Charles Leclerc is coming back at Lewis Hamilton. Could Lando Norris possibly pick up the scraps here? Charles Leclerc is going to get the move done quite easily in the end, and now that's put Lewis Hamilton vulnerable to Lando Norris, but we're going to cut back to ourselves as now it's our turn to get ourselves past Ocon and try and see if we can't catch up to Max Verstappen to get ourselves some points in this sprint race, and we get the move done very nicely through 1s and 2. And now, I'm taking a look here at a replay on board with George Russell. So this is looking forward to one of the Ferraris here, and it looks like one of the Red Bulls as well. So those two were battling it out, and now that has put the Ferrari vulnerable to George Russell here. And so with the DRS, that leaves Carlos Sainz actually going to go defensive, and he's going to use the slipstream from the Red Bull in front to try and get himself a bit of a better defensive drive there going. But in the end, the exit speed of that Mercedes was just too powerful for Carlos Sainz. As now we take a look here at Lando Norris getting himself past Lewis Hamilton, who's going to try and go around the outside. But this will also, of course, give Lando Norris the inside for turn 2, and that's where he's going to get the move done and dusted. As now, you can see there on the totem pole there, that Piastri and Carlos Sainz are having a little bit of a battle of themselves. But we're going to be focusing on this one here because this is Lewis Hamilton coming back at Lando Norris. He's going to go around the outside. Is he going to get the move done here? The exit speed of the Mercedes has been proving to be very good here. And now cutting back to ourselves, this is Max Verstappen now. He's got himself past Carlos Sainz. And now we're going to be looking to try and get ourselves past Carlos Sainz. We actually lifted off the brakes there to swing ourselves from the outside to the inside line. And we've actually now caught up to this massive train of cars here that are stuck behind Lewis Hamilton. So we're going to take this to our advantage, and we're going to send it down the inside of Max Verstappen. That's another position for us. So that's P7 for us. And now Oscar Piastri is the next person on our radar to try and get ourselves past. As now we take a look here of Lando Norris once again trying to get the move done on Lewis Hamilton. This time he goes for the inside at turn 1. And once again, he's going to get the move done. But is Lewis Hamilton going to be able to fight back at all to Lando Norris? But it looks like Hamilton's actually vulnerable now to his teammate, George Russell, who's in P4. As we now look behind from Lando Norris, and that is Lewis Hamilton being overtaken by George Russell. And for ourselves, we're now sending a very late dive on Oscar Piastri to get ourselves now up into P6. So could we now use the two Mercedes battling, which was going to obviously slow up Sergio Perez? Is that going to help us at all? We try and take a little bit of a look around the outside, but decide that we can get a bit of a cutback here, and we send it up the inside of Sergio Perez down at turn 8. So that is another position done. That puts us P5 now. And now look how slow Lewis Hamilton is. So he must be carrying some sort of issue there on that Mercedes, as now we send it down the inside of turn 10, and that's us now up into P4. And we've now got essentially just a lap to try and see if we can't catch up to George Russell, but I think that might be a bit of an ask, as now on board with Sergio Perez, he's looking to get himself past Lewis Hamilton as well. So Hamilton's gone from leading the race to essentially well, sorry, not leading the race, but trying to get the lead of the race, to now falling down to P6 and at risk of not even scoring any points here in this sprint race. As now Ocon is looking to get himself past Carlos Sainz here, but it's 3 wide ahead between the Red Bull, the McLaren, and the Mercedes. That is Sergio Perez versus Piastri and Hamilton there. And is Hamilton going to be losing out some more positions here? It looks like Sergio's going to get himself up the inside there of Lewis Hamilton. That's Hamilton now down to P7. And Max Verstappen will definitely be looking to try and get himself there past Lewis Hamilton. And for ourselves, we're going to cross the line now. Charles Leclerc's going to claim victory here in the sprint race. But we claim a very good P4 for ourselves here in this sprint, considering we started from dead last. So no doubt we're proving that we've got plenty of pace this weekend to try and help ourselves defend this championship lead we currently got. And we also managed to get ourselves driver of the day, as we now take a look here at the race results. So the podium was Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, and George Russell for the sprint race. And myself, P4, Oscar Piastri, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton, and Max Verstappen round out the sprint race points here. But Pierre Gasly and Carlos Sainz also managed to get themselves a very handy top 10. As we now take a look further down, it is actually Alex Albon down in P16. So he actually managed to maintain starting position, which isn't too bad, but definitely would have liked him to start further ahead.
So unfortunately we've picked up some grid penalties, and we are going to start tomorrow's race further back than we expected. I don't know how bad it's going to get yet, because that's going to depend on everyone else. All we can do is control our own performance, and I know you're good at that.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. 2 very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junsao into one of the 2 DRS zones will be key to any overtaking prospects today. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. edging out Lando Norris, who'll start from P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Oscar Piastri, Perez, Verstappen, Gasly, Ocon, Bottas, Liam Lawson, Joe, Stroll, Albon, Hamilton, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Iwasa, Sainz, De Vries, Sargent, Hulkenberg, and the Rainmaster. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. They've been involved in a number of costly incidents lately. That's got to affect their mindset going into this race.
It's not an ideal situation by any means. When you get into a bad run like that, there's always a risk of frustration creeping in, which can cause more mistakes and locks you into this vicious cycle. Hopefully today they can get through turn 1 cleanly and stay calm for the rest of the race.
And here we are on the grid. You would have just heard there, Mark was telling us that I've actually got it completely wrong. So our penalty has actually been applied to the Grand Prix. So for whatever reason, I was thinking that it would get applied to the sprint race. So hence I did not qualify in the sprint race. But what I should have done is qualified, probably could have started at the front, but could have had a much better shot at getting the win in the sprint race. And then starting at the back for the Grand Prix anyway. So we live and we learn, but for the strategy-wise, you would have seen me there changing it up just that little bit there. So we're going to start on the soft tyre to try and make up as many positions as we can at the start of the Grand Prix. And then since this car absolutely loves the hard tyre, I've decided to go from soft to hard tyre. So we've shortened the soft tyre stint so then we can try and push that a little bit more on the hard tyres, since I'll probably have a bit of better pace here as now we line up to the grid. 0.2 meters off as now the lights are lighting up, and it is 5 lights, and we're off here for the Brazilian Grand Prix. It's a very bad start for Logan Sargent, so we're going to squeeze ourselves right up against the wall, nearly touching the wall. Lewis Hamilton's also had an absolute shocker. So before we get the turn 1, we're already P18. Now we're going to send it down the inside of quite a few cars, actually, to put us now P16. So we've had an absolute ripper start before we even make it to turn 3. And so now it's all about trying to get ourselves further up the field on these soft tyres. Up ahead, it's Charles Leclerc leading the 2 McLarens of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, who are in 2nd and 3rd place at the moment. And it's George Russell P4, Sergio Perez 5th place to make up the top 5 at the start of this Grand Prix. So now we cut back to ourselves. We've already made up a heap of time back on Kevin Magnussen, so now we're going to be lining up here. Another dive bomb going to turn out. We're going to make the move on Magnussen and Iwasa as well. So now we've already found ourselves behind our teammate Alex Albon, who did start P13. And as we now head ourselves into turn 10 here, are we going to be able to make a dive? We're coming from very far back, but we're going to make the move up the inside of our teammate to get ourselves up into P13 now. And now the next person on our list to try and get past is going to be Zhou Guanyu. And it's not going to take very long at all, because now going into turn 8 on the very next lap, well, we're going to send it down the inside. And now we're going to be trying to get ourselves hooked up a little bit here through turn 9 to see if we can't make it to turn 10. But we're going to have to wait an extra lap before we can try and make the move on Stroll here. And it's going to get done down the inside at turn 8. So a very good move for us indeed, as now we have to try and get ourselves past Liam Lawson here. We set a purple final sector here, as we're showing that we've got massive amount of pace at the moment. So definitely not letting this grid penalty that we mistakenly took during the Grand Prix let us down too much, as now we take a bit of an order check here. So it's Charles Leclerc leading the 2 McLarens still of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. Then it's George Russell, Sergio Perez, Pierre Gasly, Max Verstappen, Esteban Ocon, Valtteri Bottas, and ourselves now in P10 after getting past Liam Lawson. Then it's Stroll, Lawson, Zhou Guanyu, our teammate Alex Albon in P14, Iwasa, Magnussen, Hamilton, Hulkenberg, Nick De Vries, Carlos Sainz down in P20. So absolute shocker considering he was in the points for the sprint race. So definitely he's had some issues going into this Grand Prix. So now we make the move on Valtteri Bottas to get ourselves down into P9. So our next person that we're going to be trying to get past is Esteban Ocon. As now we're going to very quickly get that one done down the inside at turn 10. And now Max Verstappen's the next person on our target to try and get ourselves even more points to help us defend this championship, as Lando Norris is making the move for the lead of the race down the inside of Charles Leclerc at turn 4, and he's going to get it done. As now behind him, this is going to be George Russell trying to make the move on Oscar Piastri. So one McLaren's attacking, the other's defending. And there you can see behind George Russell, who's still going side by side. Perez and Gasly are battling it out as well. And so is George Russell going to get the move done? He is going to get the move done around the outside, going up the hill into turn 7 and turn 8. And Sergio Perez also got the move done on Pierre Gasly's. Now we're sending it down the inside of Max Verstappen at turn 10. To get ourselves up another position again. So that's now up to P7. Is now Pierre Gasly's next person on our list. And we're going to get this move done very quickly at turn 8, down the inside. And now that is another position gained for ourselves into P6. And now Sergio Perez is going to be the next person on our list. We've already caught up to the back of him going up the hill. So now we've been taking it very easy to try and set ourselves up here for turn 8. We're going to get the move done. We actually nipped the grass just that tiny little bit. I wasn't expecting him to cover off going through this. Now we send a very late dive bomb on Oscar Piastri going into turn 10. Now that puts us up into P4. And so now George Russell's the next person on our list. That's now we're actually going to pull into the pit here on lap 14. And we're going to try and get it all slowed down. It's a very tricky pit entry here. A lot of people get caught out by it, but we managed to get that one done quite nicely. So now we get ourselves prepped, calm down a little bit, and get ourselves prepped for the hard tyre to get ourselves to the end of this Grand Prix and try and see if we can't make any sort of inroads here to the top 3. Charles Leclerc was a couple of seconds up the road from ourselves, and then Lando Norris was again another second or so from Charles Leclerc. So definitely looking to put in here a couple of very good laps to try and either jump them. Jumping him would be absolutely amazing, or try and make that gap even smaller, as we actually popped out alongside Logan Sargent and Nick De Vries. I tried to send it up the inside of Nick De Vries there, but he kind of slammed the door shut on us there, so we're going to have to regroup and try and figure out another way to get past him. But we've got so much speed going through this section here, going up the hill, that we've already caught up to him. So I'm going to send a dive bomb going into turn 8, and that's going to get us now into P20. But we're going to be looking to try and get ourselves onto the podium here through this pit cycle. Now Charles Leclerc is coming into the lane. He's taking off the softs compound tyres and he's putting on the medium compound tyres to go to the end of the Grand Prix. So already got some different tyre strategies going on us now. We make up a whole chunk of positions going down this main straight, as a lot of the field's going into the pit. So now we find ourselves up into P13, but still we're going to be trying to chase down that top 3 position by the end of this pit cycle here. As now Nico Hulkenberg's actually making a move here on Iwasa, and this is going to be for P8 on the road. But remember, both of these guys are still yet to pit, so they're definitely going to be falling further down the field. As now we've caught up to the back of Yuki Tsunoda, and so we're going to send a dive bomb going into turn 10 to put us now up into P12. And now we can actually see Charles Leclerc there, fastest lap of the race, and he's up into P10 as Carlos Sainz pulls in, and Nick De Vries is out of the session. So you can see there on the minimap, he's parked up there going up the hill. So I wonder if he's had some sort of issue, as now we've set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so proving that we've got plenty of pace on these hard tyres. And now we look on board with Nick De Vries, and yeah, it's an engine failure, so not a good sign for us being using the same engine. As now Lando Norris is here in the lane. He's gone for the hard tyres as well. And now back on board with ourselves, we've caught up to the back of Nico Hulkenberg. We're using the bit of slipstream here from Charles Leclerc to try and help ourselves get around the outside at turn 4 of Nico Hulkenberg, who's also, once again, yet the pit. And now, Charles Leclerc sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So we've done exactly what we wanted. We've got ourselves into the top 3. But no! Is that an engine failure? We've got an engine failure! This is absolutely terrible! No! We were chasing down first and second in this Grand Prix to try and get the win here in Brazil, to try and help us as best as we can going into Las Vegas. We were leading the championship, and now this will surely drop us massively down the standings in this championship battle and give Lando Norris and George Russell the upper hand.
With it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today. Tell me, Ant, how do they manage to achieve this win?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm very happy to see them there on that top step of the podium.
And there we have it. A very disappointing Brazilian Grand Prix for ourselves with an engine failure. But on a more positive note, it was a 6th career win for Lando Norris here in this series. George Russell has also got himself up on the podium to claim even more points against us. So the two drivers we were battling in this championship battle have definitely taken full advantage of our engine failure here to claim more points against us, as we now take a look at the race results here. So Pierre Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Lewis Hamilton, Esteban Ocon, and Carlos Sainz round out the points here in the Brazilian Grand Prix, as we now will be scrolling down further to find ourselves DNF'd in this race with that engine failure. And Alex Albon also had an absolute shocker down in P19, so not a good day in the office for Brabham Meguiars Racing. As now we take a look here at the driver standings. So Lando Norris is leading the Drivers' Championship by 15 points now over George Russell, and ourselves, we've dropped down to P3, and we're 22 points off the lead of the championship, and Alex Albon P18 in the championship is now. For the constructor standings, as Crofty was saying before, McLaren have sealed. They are the world champions for this, and for Brabham, we are currently P4, still battling Red Bull for that P4, P5, as now Max is telling us Lewis Hamilton is retiring from Formula 1, which is actually a bit of a shock considering I would have thought he would have gone on for a few more seasons. So this cracks open the driver market completely, but Lewis Hamilton will be leaving the sport with 105 race wins and 7 world championships, as we now fast forward time here. So we've done a DRS upgrade there using some of the R&D points that we received for that engine failure that we had, and now in the personnel department, MXF magazine wants Alex Albon to do an article with him, but we kind of need his focus for this final race of the championship to try and help us secure P4 in this championship ahead of Red Bull. And that is going to do it for this week's episode. So if you did enjoy it, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the grand finale of Season 2 in Las Vegas. It is Lando Norris, George Russell, and myself trying to go for this championship. Is it going to be a first world championship actually for any of us drivers? We will have to find out and see in the next episode. See ya.